Ombre Komal Jagtap has left the meeting. Okay. Sorry for late because my laptop was updating when I started. So let us start. I think we have completed our last method, that is secant method, and their example we have seen in the last method. Okay. Now let us go for the rate of or the order of convergence. Okay. Only 26 students are there. Is there any problem in joining? Am I
No,
audible?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Let us go for the new concept, that is rate of convergence or order of convergence. Okay. Now for that, first we'll see the definition of what do you mean by rate of convergence. Okay. Now let us, I will write down the definition. You have to read it and you have to understand this. And I will explain later. An iterative method is said to be of order P, is said to be of order P if P is the largest positive real number, if P is largest positive real number for which there exists a constant C, there exists a constant C such that epsilon k plus 1 is equals to C epsilon k raised to P, where epsilon k is equals to xk minus zeta. Okay, where what we can say, epsilon k is kth iterative error. The constant c is a symplectic constant and depends on the derivative of f of x. C depends on derivative of f of x at x equal to 0. Okay. So what is a definition? An iterative method is said to be of order of convergence P. Okay, order क्या होगा उसका P और we can say the rate of convergence is P or order of convergence is P. Then if P is the largest positive real number, if P is the largest positive real number for which there exists a constant C. Okay, we can say the order of convergence or the rate of convergence is P if P satisfy this condition. Okay, what is this condition? The error at k plus 1th stage. Epsilon means what? We are using the notation for epsilon for our error. Error at k plus 1th position is, or k plus 1th iteration. As we are performing the iteration and first iteration, second iteration. So which is equal to C epsilon k raised to P. That means error at kth position or kth iterative error, and which should be this epsilon k plus 1 should be exactly equal to some constant C epsilon k raised to P. Okay, where epsilon k is a kth iterative error, and what is the value of C? C is a some constant which depends on the derivative of a function f of x at x equal to zeta. Okay, because all these things are related to your function f of x ना, इसका ही रूट निकाल रहे हैं ना हम while finding the root of this by using iterative method. Okay, iterative method means what? We are going to have a number of steps. Say we are going to perform 5, 4, and so on. These type of steps we are going to perform. That means step by step procedure to find out the root of our equation. So if it satisfy these conditions, then we say that as a rate of convergence p. The p may be any number later on while seeing the rate of convergence of Newton-Raphson secant method, all these methods, at that time you will come to know what is the value of a p. Okay, p is the largest positive real number. Here it is given largest positive real number, but later on we will see what how to find out the value of this p. Okay, any doubt with this definition?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll see convergence of equation method by theorem itself. And if we see theorem once, then we can go for the proof for our secant and Newton-Raphson bisection method and all. Okay. Let us go for the statement first. I will write the statement. You have to tell me what is given to us and what we want to prove. Okay, have you read it? What do you understand? Hmm. What do you understand from the statement? Okay. Let x equal to zeta be the root of our equation given to us. What is our equation? F of x equal to 0 is the equation. For this equation, zeta is a root. Zeta is a root means f of zeta should be equal to 0. Let I be the interval containing x equal to zeta. Okay, we are saying that your zeta is a root which is contained in the interval I. We are selecting I in such a way that also, no, intermediate value theorem. By intermediate value theorem, we can say that one is we are going to select a root in such a way that, or rather, we are going to select our interval, and then what we have phi of x and phi dash of x be a continuous in the interval I. Okay, we are having the function phi of x and phi dash of x are some continuous function in the interval I. Phi of x is defined as x equal to phi of x. That means instead of having x, we can substitute phi of x in our equation. Okay, j f of x equal to 0. That means this is some equation in terms of x. So instead of substituting x, we can substitute phi of x, which is equivalent to say. That means this phi of x is a solution of our equation. We can say that means which is equivalent to f of x equal to 0 means what? Instead of substituting x, we can substitute phi of x, and which will be the solution. Okay. Assuming one solution, we will proceed for this. Now, what is given to us? Modulus of phi dash of x is less than 1 for all x belongs to I. And here, the whatever the sequence of approximations we are getting. While solving the example, I think you come across the sequence of approximation. We got x naught, x1, up to so on, xn. What are these roots? These are converges to zeta. That means these are sequence of roots which are converging to a root zeta, that is exact root, provided x naught is chosen from the interval I. Okay. If you are choosing x naught from the interval I, then only we will come to the root zeta of our equation. Okay. Now let us proceed for the proof. First, what is given to us? Zeta is a root of our equation. If zeta is a root of our equation, then what we can say, f of zeta is equal to 0. Okay, f of zeta is equal to 0. What is next? We have provided x is equals to phi of x is given to us, which is our equation 1. So we can have in as zeta is a root, this will also satisfy this one, because we are provided that instead of x we can substitute phi of x, and hence we can say zeta is equals to phi of zeta. Okay. Uh, Now, what we are provided that x naught is the initial approximation which is chosen from the interval I. Now, if you come across the things, we have found the value of say x1 from the x naught. Okay, x2 how we have found? X2 we have found with the help of x1, x naught. Okay, similarly, sometime x2 we have simply found with the help of x1. X3 is found with the help of x2 and so on. If you remember the last formula xn plus 1, it was in terms of xn and xn minus 1. याच्यामध्ये ठेवला ना तर sum, it is some combination of xn and xn minus 1. So what we can say, the root, whatever the next root we are finding, which is with the help of previous one. So hence, now we can say that x1 can be found with the help of x naught. We can say x1 is equal to phi of x naught. Let us name it as say equation 2. Now let us subtract these two equations. What we can say is we are subtracting x1 is equal to phi of x naught from this equation, and hence we can write zeta minus x1 is equal to, this is phi of zeta minus phi of x1, sorry, phi of x1, because these two are equal, hence we can subtract, both are same quantity now, so that's why we can subtract. And let me write this as, say, equation number 3. Now, according to mean value theorem, what the mean value theorem tells us that there exists one point, there exists at least one point, say zeta naught belongs to our interval, say x naught to zeta. This is our first first interval, na? First interval, say a naught b naught. Instead of saying a naught b naught, we can say x naught to zeta, because here we have written in terms of x naught and zeta. Okay, there by using mean value theorem, we can say that there exists a number zeta such that, what, such that phi dash of zeta naught is equal to phi of zeta minus phi of x naught divided by zeta minus x naught. This is with the help of mean value theorem. Now, what we can do is we can write this as phi of zeta minus phi of x naught is equals to phi dash of zeta naught into zeta minus x naught. Okay. Now we can name this as, say, equation 4. Now using equation 4 in 3 means this side we have to use. Okay, this side we have to put it in equation 3, and we get it is as zeta minus x1 as it is. It is equal to value of this phi of zeta minus phi of x naught. We have to substitute this as phi dash of this one, phi dash of zeta naught minus, sorry, phi dash of zeta naught into zeta minus x naught. Okay, this is what, say, equation number 5. Now, in general, we can now generalize the concept as zeta minus x2 will be in terms of phi dash of x1, phi dash of zeta 1, zeta minus x1. So this is our equation 6. Similarly, we can write the next one, zeta minus x3 is equal to phi dash of zeta 2 into zeta minus x2. This is what your equation 7, and so on. We can write up to zeta minus xn plus 1 is equals to phi dash of zeta n into zeta minus xn. Say this is our say equation 8. No doubt we are getting many equation in between them. Here some we are writing these equations from, say, x naught to up to xn. We have to make a use of this statement later on. Before that, we are provided phi dash of x is less than 1. In the statement, we are provided mod of phi dash of x is less than 1. And if phi dash of x is less than 1, what is x? X is any point from the interval I. Okay, here zetas are also the points from the interval I. And hence, we can write mod of phi dash of zeta I is less than or equal to some k, and this k is less than 1. Instead of saying directly it is less than 1, we are assuming it is less than equal to some k, and that k is less than 1 for all I. That means every zeta I, for every zeta I, phi dash of zeta I is less than 1. Okay. Now using these equation in our above equations. Okay. So what we will get, these all equations we have to substitute here. Phi dash of zeta is less equal by k, which is less than 1. Here also phi dash of zeta 1, phi dash of zeta 2, phi dash of zeta n. Okay. So what will be the equations now? It is as it is modulus, so we are going to apply modulus and we are going to use this equation, which is zeta minus x1 is less equal by mod of zeta minus x0. Next, mod of zeta minus x2 is less equal by mod of zeta minus x1 and so on. We can write for zeta minus xn plus 1 is less equal by mod of zeta minus xn. Okay, simply we have substituted less equal by 1 for these term phi dash of zeta is. And the same equations are now become in the form of less equal, which shows that each successive approximation remains in the interval I. What we can say from this equation is zeta minus x naught is greater equal by zeta minus x1, right? Remember, we are solving the example. हम जब solve करते थे example x naught, x1 and so on, we are getting some value. Say x5 is there, x6 is there. There is very small difference between these values, but there is some big difference in between these two values. Okay. Just like that, if suppose zeta is a root, what will be the difference between these two? This difference between these two is a larger than difference between these two. Say if we are saying that it is about x zeta, x6 and zeta. Okay, difference between these two and difference between these two is somewhat having a this one will be larger and this one will be the smaller one. So here also you can see the difference between the exact root and x naught is greater than difference between the exact root and x1. That is first approximation. This is zeroth approximation. So we can say difference between zeta and x1 is greater than difference between zeta and x2. Next approximation. However, you are going to increase the number of iteration, you will reach more and more nearer to your root zeta. So, if I am going to write down these equation, these inequalities in the form of, say, suppose I write it as a this is what mod of zeta minus xn plus 1, okay, which is less equal by, we say it is zeta minus xn, which is less equal by the next will be zeta minus xn minus 1 and which is less equal by and so on. What will be the last one? Zeta minus x1. So this difference between zeta minus x naught is largest one because this is whatever zeroth approximation we have chosen. So as you now increase the number of iteration, you will reach more and more closer to a root of our equation. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to multiply the equation 5 to 8 and simplify. We have to multiply the equations 5 to 8 and we have to simplify. Okay, right hand side multiplied by right hand side itself and then we have to simplify. What we have to do, whatever these equations we have to multiply these equation. Zeta minus x1 multiplied by zeta minus x2 multiplied by zeta minus x3 and so on, which is equal to this phi dash all terms in one side and then zeta minus x naught, zeta minus x1 and so on. Okay, we have to multiply all those equations and we have to simplify. Okay, what will be the form? Here it will be zeta minus x1 into what is the term inside the bracket again? We can say it is multiplied by. No need to write inside the bracket as it is a multiplication. So into it is zeta minus x naught, zeta minus x1 and so on up to zeta minus xn. So how many terms we are going to cancel? We can say here zeta minus x1, zeta minus x1, zeta minus x2, zeta minus x2. So here it will there will be term zeta minus xn. So this term will get cancelled with this one. Okay. So what we are meaning with zeta minus xn plus 1 is equals to phi dash of zeta naught, phi dash of zeta 1 and up to so on phi dash of zeta n into what we remains is zeta minus x naught. Okay, now since what we have, since we have mod of phi dash of zeta I, we have assumed that mod of phi dash of zeta I is less equal by k, which is less than 1. Okay, this assumption we have made with the help of our given statement that phi dash of x is less than I for all x belongs to I. Okay, and hence we have written phi dash of zeta I is less equal by k, or we can say it is less equal by 1. And hence instead of writing all this, ये सब क्या है, these are less equal by k, this is less equal by k, and hence we can write this equation as zeta minus xn plus 1, as we are writing in terms of less equal. So what will be the result? Yes, which is less equal by, as modulus is there for this one, so let us apply modulus, which is less equal by, as this is not, this is 1 2 up to so on n, so these n terms and this not, every term is less equal by k, so here it is k up to these terms. So what will be the resultant? It is k raised to n plus 1 into zeta minus x. Are you getting this step? As k tends to infinity. Okay, what will happen if, sorry, as n tends to infinity? What will happen if n tends to infinity? As k is less equal by 1, what will happen as n tends to infinity? At least you can answer this one. सांगा, n tends to infinity असेल तर k raised to n काय होणार आहे? Assuming k is less than 1. आहेत का जागे? एक्सरसाइज करा थोडं. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. If n tends to infinity, if k is less than 1. K less than 1 means what? What we can assume if k is equal to half. Okay, 1 by 2 raised to n plus 1. If I say n tends to infinity, what will happen for this? 1 upon 2 raised to n plus 1. As n tends to infinity, what is the result?
0.
Test.
0. So if as I say that n tends to infinity, this will tending to 0, which means that what is the result of this one? This mod of zeta minus xn plus 1 will tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. What is the meaning of this statement? That is, this is what your exact root, and this is the approximate root we have found after n plus 1th iterations, and hence we can say that this root zeta will tends to your exact root will tends to our approximate root, and the difference between these two is going to be smaller and smaller as n tends to infinity. That means as you increase the number of steps, you will come to closer and closer to exact root of our equation. Or this statement I can write it as limit as n tends to infinity, uh, xn plus 1 is equal to zeta. This statement we can write it as limit as n tends to infinity, xn plus 1 is equal to zeta. Okay, let us see what we have seen in this. First, we have seen the definition of order of convergence. What is the definition for order of convergence? There should exist some constant c which depends on the derivative of f dash of x. Later on, you will come to know how this derivative is depending on the f of x. Okay, some may have a question that this how this c depends on the derivative. Later on, in some examples, you will come to know. So, what is the order of convergence? The order of convergence is said to be of order p. Rate of convergence is of order p if there exists a constant c which satisfy this condition, that is the error at k plus 1th stage is equal to c times error at kth stage raised to t. Okay, and then we have seen the one theorem related to our order of convergence. We are provided that x equal to zeta is a root and phi dash of x are some continuous functions which are assumed to be x equal to phi of x. This is given to us. Next, what is given to us? Phi dash of x is less than 1. What is our aim to prove that? The sequence of approximation. That means whatever the roots we are finding, they are tending to root zeta. Okay, we have to prove that they are tending to root zeta, and hence finally we have proved that this xn plus 1, difference between xn plus 1 and zeta is tending to 0 as n tends to infinity. Okay, this is what a sequence of approximations. Okay, sequence of these approximation will tend to root zeta. Okay, then whatever the things we are provided, we have used them, subtracted them, and then finally we have used a mean value theorem. Using mean value theorem, we have substituted, and then what we have done, simply we have written here. Similarly, we can write for zeta minus x2, zeta minus x3, and so on. And then we have used our given thing, that is phi dash of x is less than 1 for all x belongs to y, and hence we have substituted this in equation 5 to 8, and then we have multiplied all these equation 5 to 8. Simply we have to multiply all these equation, and then after multiplying many terms will get cancelled, and then just substitute this equation k up to phi dash of zeta n. Okay, how many times this will be? This will be n plus 1 times, and hence it is k raised to n plus 1 as n tends to infinity, because we have assumed that k is less than 1. Hence this, as n tends to infinity, the k raised to n plus 1 will tends to 0, and hence we can say that as we increase the number of iterations, we will come to root zeta of our polynomial or our equation. Okay. In the next lecture, we will start with the rate of convergence of Newton-Raphson and other method. If you don't have any doubt, you can leave the meeting. Thank you.